Hello beautiful people and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this episode in which we're gonna talk about this new Air Force hero called ABAD. And what we're gonna do in this episode, we're gonna evaluate this hero based on his design, what was announced by River Game today. And of course, as soon as the hero is in game, I'm gonna take this hero also to 5 stars with the level 5 exclusive skill. By the way, hint right here, he's gonna need it. And then we're gonna test this hero, but I think this episode is extremely important because we have a certain amount of disadvantages when it comes down to this hero. So let's first briefly go through his design. So please pay attention, this hero kind of looks like Asuka. We're gonna evaluate a bit more deeper during this episode, but this hero is exclusively for the Air Force units. In other words, Asuka is not, so from this perspective, yeah, it's something which you definitely should keep in mind. Of course, we have an active skill, so after every regular attack from the Air Force units, there is a chance to trigger a skill attack dealing 45% damage, but that will be dealt to all 9 slots. Now, here you have to pay attention, presumably there are units on all 9 slots. Of course, on top of this, if the targets have an ignition on those slots, he will automatically detonate them just simply like Asuka does. So let's have a look now at the passive skill, which is at the start of each round. You have a 50% ignition on top, effect on 3 units, slots, and of course the level 3 exclusive skill looks similar to everything we have in game right now, which is when the hero is actually in this match, you're gonna have a 30% attack for all units. And of course, let's have a look at the level 5 exclusive skill. So when this hero participates in battle, all ignition effects are increased by 10% after the hero detonates the ignition effect. It applies 1 stack of 30% ignition to the targeted units, which are all of the opponent's slots. And of course, let's have a look at the level 7 exclusive skill, which definitely looks great, but then again, I always have to mention this, that the level 7 exclusive of any hero is totally in a different dimension anyways. So when the hero is in this match, all ignition effects are enhanced by another 30%. This hero active skill damage will also gonna be increased by 30%. So even though we don't have right now this hero in game in order to test him, which of course I will do as soon as the hero is in game, we still have a certain amount of concerns, or let's put it in different words, we have some positive aspects regarding this hero, but we have far more negative aspects when it comes down to this hero. So the positive aspect when it comes down to this hero ABAD is that this hero is not tied to any collaboration event. In other words, of course, you should take advantage of this hero when this hero is released and actually unlock him with free gems. That's super important. But even if you miss that, definitely later on you will have a chance to actually unlock this hero by paying money in the hot deals or other offers. So from this perspective, don't stress yourself too much. Good, now let's come to this very long list of negative aspects when it comes to this hero. So first of all, we have to mention we have a ton of gold heroes right now in TOPWAR, and of course the highest valued heroes for your account are the heroes which are universal hero, and this is here not a universal hero. We have to mention this. The second negative thing when it comes down to this hero is if PvE is super important for you, then this hero has zero value for you from this perspective because it needs an opponent with 9 slots, and the vast majority of the PvE opponents have just 1 slot, like the wall boss, like the sun table, and this is exactly where this hero will gonna be absolutely super bad. But of course we also have PvP in this game, and from this perspective this hero looks exactly like if Asuka and Yuhu, that hero from the Navy, yes, kind of had a baby together. If that is even possible, this is exactly how this hero looks like. It has some advantages, very little, but it has a lot of disadvantages. So in other words, yes, one of the key things we have to figure out, because Riva Game will never gonna release this information, is of course his proc rate. The lower, the worse this hero will gonna be. So let's carry on with the negative aspects when it comes down to this hero tied up to you using him in the PvP setup. Another very important thing is you can imagine the longer the battle will gonna take, the less slots will have units on your opponent. In other words, this is literally a damage reduction or a performance decrease for this hero when it comes down to the PvP setup. Now we have another third case which definitely this hero kind of looks like is boosting a different hero, probably not intended. And of course, this is the case in which presumably you're gonna face a tank opponent which actually uses Snake Eyes. So this hero, Mr. ABAD, has a small hit, but therefore he hits all the slots, and on top also detonates all the ignitions, but therefore this hit is low, 45%. So imagine for a second you're gonna face an opponent with the tanks using Mr. Snake Eyes, and imagine activating Mr. Snake Eyes and get 6 hits back at you. That's not gonna be funny at all. Next very negative thing when it comes down to this hero is of course for the newer players. I'm talking about the players which are somewhere under the 350 to 400% damage decrease or damage increase. If you have these lower values, then you're definitely gonna need to use the encirclement units. 1 slot for the Navy, 1 slot for the tanks, but this hero will only gonna proc from the Air Force units, so therefore this is not quite an advantage either. But the story carries on, and I must repeat myself till we reach this point in which the developers actually understand exactly the situation. This hero kind of looks interesting, but when you thought the special effects which you have introduced in TOPWAR and also decided to keep, if you thought these special effects only gonna affect us players, you are again wrong, because the special effects runes on the Titan gear makes a lot of things in TOPWAR absolutely useless. So yes, probably at one point you will realize from the revenue perspective that the only thing which you probably can sell are something with a catalyst, something with the runes. Everything else is absolutely irrelevant. So yeah, dear TOPWAR developers, good luck explaining to your shareholders why heroes like this, or for example just the new skin which you have released, Enigma Island Pack, why that doesn't sell. Good luck with that. If you choose to purchase this hero and of course get his level 5 exclusive skill, how would you implement this hero in a March? So definitely you need to focus on the ignition. So when it comes down to that, of course we have an offense buffing hero which has also ignition. That's Mr. Bradley. That's gonna work fantastic. So you have Bradley together with ABAD, and at this point you have the following options. Sure, granted, you need a hero with the indestructible buff, especially if your damage increase and damage decrease and your stats in general are kind of low. And you can use Shinji, you can use Striker, you can use Mr. Duke. Of course, you can enhance these heroes by using these relics again, which can cast extra ignition. Or if you're one of these new players which don't have access anymore to Shinji or Mr. Striker, and you only have Duke and you already use him on a different March, then surely yes, you can take Mr. Maximo. That's also gonna work, but there are also some side effects when it comes down to using Mr. Maximo, which is a very, very old hero on TOPWAR. One of these aspects, of course, is when you do not have the Heavy Trooper, because the Heavy Trooper is in healing, you're gonna severely experience a performance decrease in your March. So let's wrap up this video with answering the question, how necessary is this hero right now in TOPWAR? So from my perspective, yes, I'm still playing a very conservative setup, which means, in other words, I will always gonna look for a hero with the indestructible buff. And as of right now, I'm actually using Duke on my tanks for several reasons, not just better stats, but also the ability for me of having far more tank units in my base than planes. Hint, maybe River Game at one point also understands this topic and chooses to rework our base layout. And from my perspective, this is the meta I'm using right now, and this is most likely also the meta which I will gonna use even after having Mr. ABAD at 5 stars and level 5 exclusive skill. And in other words, what I am waiting for is another hero with the indestructible buff. And as soon as we get that one, yes, I'm gonna take that hero and replace Mr. Duke, which is right now on my second tank march. Because you know what? Then I'm gonna go to a very, very solid setup when it comes down to the planes, which is of course Cranston, Duke, and Kai. And yeah, you probably noticed I won't necessarily have a need for Mr. ABAD. So anyways, beautiful people, as you are used to from this channel, I'm gonna take this hero ASAP to 5 stars. I also gonna take the level 5 exclusive skill, and I will gonna try my best to do the test as soon as possible. So let's say something like round about 2 to 3 hours after the hero is released in Top War, you're already gonna be able to see the video being uploaded to this channel. So that brings us, of course, to the most important part of this video, in which there is no better argument for you actually to subscribe to this channel and support the channel which supports you back, beautiful people. So thank you very, very much for watching, and of course, don't forget to see me in the next very, very interesting episode. Ciao!